From the planning of it nearly 8 years ago to the nearly 3-hour runtime, The Batman is shaping up to be a very long-awaited and radically different film compared to all other superhero films. And starting on 4th of March, we will be seeing a new superhero film coming to cinemas. The title of the film is simply called The Batman. Quite boring, I guess, but I guess we can go with it. And it will be the 7th time, I believe, a new actor has stepped into the role of Batman. And the actor to play this role is none other than English Twilight star Robert Pattinson. He will be supported by the likes of Andy Serkis, playing Alfred Pennyworth, Jeffrey Wright as police officer Jim Gordon, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, and the Riddler played by Paul Dano. So already you can see that the film is unlike any other film we've seen before, especially a superhero film. And although the film is meant to be an original take, inspiration can sort of be found, and it seems like it has been used or taken from one of the comic book of Batman, that is Batman The Long Halloween. One of the best known and loved trilogies is of course the Dark Knight trilogy, and so for Matt Reeves to try and copy that and replicate it would be completely stupid. So it is clear that he's tried to distinguish his set of films from that trilogy. For instance, Nolan's trilogy was very much following about Batman and his kind of macho style, if you would, very basic superhero plots. Batman's a hero, a few twists under the hood, yes, but apart from that, nothing incredibly special. This Batman, therefore, is going to be focusing more on the emotional side, really getting into the character of Batman, making the film with a few more clues along the way. The film may not end up being your traditional, here's a superhero, here's a villain, and then 2 hours later, the superhero defeats the villain. As for the runtime though, this is the third longest superhero film we've ever seen, just behind Avengers Endgame at 3 hours and 5 minutes, I believe, and then of course the behemoth, 4-hour long Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is therefore going to be just below that Avengers Endgame with 2 hours and 55 minutes of film, which is very surprising actually, especially since this is meant to be a trilogy with Pattinson signing on for a 3-film deal with the studio Warner Bros. The film is meant to be also quite separate from the main DCU pipeline. Originally it was not meant to be that. Ben Affleck brought up the film way back in 2014 with him meant to be starring in it, writing in it, and I think also directing as well. But as the years went by and things started to break down, he got less and less attached from it. The film got less attached from the main pipeline until January 19, when he left the scene, allowing Matt Reeves to take on the role of directing the film. Matt Reeves has made successes like two of the Planet of the Apes films, the second two, and also I think the first Cloverfield film as well. He is quite an old director, but he hasn't had very many successes, only going back about 10 years or so, but he certainly has made his successful films. Personally though, do I think this will be a good film? Answer is I'm not completely sure. I am definitely leaning more towards it will be, but I haven't completely made up my mind. When the trilogy is done though, will it compete with, say, the Dark Knight trilogy? And my answer to that is no, I don't think it will. However, could it compete with maybe Batman Begins, the first film of that, or at least one of the films could compete with Batman Begins? And yes, I think it could. I think we could be in for something special here. Although one of my previous videos last year, I did say that about Eternals, and I gave up after about 40 minutes of watching it. But this one certainly does seem more likely, but to be honest, we could be in for anything, so who knows.